In 2018, my husband bought the book from Amazon, Becoming Supernatural. He read it, and he said, this is the good stuff. We should start to follow that. And when we went to the first intensive workshop in Europe, I felt like Dr. Joe was talking to my heart. He was talking my language. And I decided to start the work, you know. And so we went to Progressive Workshop, and then we went to Portland 2019, week-long. And I came to week-long, and I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know well what's happening there. So I was just sitting on the second day meditation, really following what Dr. Joe was saying. And this light came to my head, and I had this immense amount of gratitude in my heart, and I was crying and laughing, and I couldn't hold this, you know, it was a lot. And I was thinking as if like what Dr. Joe says on the scene and people saying in testimonial is what happened to me. Like, I was so grateful. And in that moment, the voice in my head told me, you don't have to take pills for thyroid anymore. And I had this hypothyroidism for 12 years. I was taking 72 milligrams of uterus, and that was healed. In that moment, I just healed it. So, you know, it was this biological upgrade, divine interaction, whatever you can call it. And I felt so supernatural, so happy. And I came home, and I was really, really dedicated to the work. And I was asking of, like, what is my mission? Like, what I'm doing here on this earth, and what's happening to me? And I kept asking this question, and I didn't know the answer. So 3 months after, I got this diagnosis, and I had the tumor in my uterus. It was a benign tumor, trophoblastic tumor that was supposed to be caused, but I don't see any logic with the miscarriage that I had before. So the mass was 5 per 5 centimeters, and it was disorganized, and it was connected to my uterus with the bloodstream. So there were 2 options to do the chemotherapy or to cut the whole uterus. You couldn't take the mass out. So the first thought that I had in the moment when my doctor saw it, I was like, challenge, yes! You know, finally, I could prove myself that everything I believe works. And this was my first thought, probably coming from my heart. But then my brain started, you know, to find the solutions, like, what should I do? You know, we found the doctor in Milan, and the oncologist, she was the best doctor for this kind of disease. Like, this is not very common disease, and actually it's, like, people use only chemotherapy for that. There is no other healing, because it was fast-growing type of cell and fast-reducing type of cell. So chemotherapy would just kill it, you know, like, and I don't know what would happen with chemo, but when I went to this doctor and I was asking her, like, so how it's gonna happen to my body? Like, what you're gonna give me this this drug, and so how my body will react? And she would say nothing. She would say, you don't have to worry about that. And I was like, no, it's my body, you know, I really want to know how it's going to come out. Like, is it going to be like that? Is it going to be like this? She's like, no, you know, it's like super effective. It's like 95% success of all treatments I've done. The marker, the blood marker, was this hormone. And when I started, it was 1,200 points. And the normal one is 0. It means there is nothing. And I started the work. You know, I was doing the work before, but now I had the reason to do it even more. So the first week, so I told this doctor that we have to take time to think, and I went to do all MCT scan, like, and all scans by myself, not going to the hospital, because she offered me to go to the hospital, stay there 5 days, and just do all the controls. And I said no, because I don't want to associate myself with the sick people. And because I didn't feel like I was sick, it was something to find myself. Anyway, so I took all the scans, and it showed that the mass was there. There was nothing in my body. So, and I did, diet, like a vegan diet, juicing, detoxing, and 4 to 3 hours of meditation a day for 1 week. And then I took a blood test again, and the marker went down by 15%, 1-5. And it was a lot. So when I went to this doctor again, she said, "Oh, it's so strange that this marker went down. So the protocol says, the international protocol for this disease says that if marker goes down by itself, you don't need chemo." I said, "Yes." Oh, yeah, okay. So she said, "You know what, I don't know what you're doing, but I don't want to know. You don't listen to me. I offer you this chemo. It's super effective. But if you don't want my advice, you just do whatever you want, but make sure that you do this blood test every week and bring me the result." And so I started this work. I was doing diet, no diet, this thing, other thing, but I was really consistent to the meditation. I didn't know what meditation to do. I was doing blessed energy centers, one this, another one. I just needed to go and find myself. So the question I was asking to myself is who I am, because I actually didn't know. And the more I was asking that, the more I felt who I don't want to be, And I didn't want to be this person. I didn't want to be the victim. I didn't want this. I didn't want that. So it was hard, because when you ask this kind of questions, you get the answer, and you see everything you didn't want to see before. So I had identity breakdowns, crying, shaking, all this kind of stuff. And, clearing that, I felt like more powerful, and the marker was going down every week, like 5%, 10%, 3%, something. And the really difficult point was to measure that every week. So I had kind of like the test, was I doing right or no? Anyway, it went down, 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 and at a certain point it went up. So I write from 1,200 to 500. Then it went up by 60%, and there I was like, there was this voice in my head saying, like, "Are you ready to keep going? You need to keep going, because you cannot stop. It was working before, it has to work again." So I put it down, and then we went to advanced follow-up in Munich. It was end of February last year. And I was ready to understand more of that. And the work I was doing at home really helped me so much, because sometimes I would be there and saying, like at the beginning especially, I would tell myself, just try to somehow find a way to go to the workshop, get the healing, you get healed and it's okay, so you don't have to worry. And then my mind was telling me, my heart was telling me, you had this interaction before with divine, so you are divine, so you don't need to go anywhere. You just sit here in your house and do the work. I was like, okay, I'll do that. Anyway, I was kind of ready. So when I was in Munich, the first day, after the meditation, we laid down, and I felt this incredible wave of gratitude coming from my heart. And I felt like I was grateful for everything, and my disease as well. I felt so grateful for the Dr. Joe teachings, for this work, for this people community, and my disease, And I felt this wholeness, I was there, I was present with my body laying on the floor in the room, everybody's there, and at the same time, I was nothing. And that moment, really, I was telling myself, remember this moment. You will need it after, So when I went home, then I got 2 healings. coherence healings. I was on the floor, and one of those I was like in front of the door, and I thought, should I enter or not? You know, like maybe there are some people they need it more. You know, like, do I feel worthy? And this unworthiness thing came out, you know, and when I went to the room, I was on the floor, and Dr. Joe was saying, Healy's, you just be grateful and be worthy to receive. I was like, oh my God, how is it possible? You know, it's so difficult. Anyway, I went home, and after all of this, I felt so great. I felt like I was healed. And I came home, and I made the blood test, and the marker was the same. It was 200, and then it became 205, you know, and 195, I don't remember. And I was like, it's strange, because I feel like I'm healed. So I go to the doctor, and I say, you know, I make the ultrasound, and he's like, yeah, the mass is still there, you know, but it's a strange thing here. Because the mass was disorganized. It's like if you drop the egg in the water, and it's going to go all over the place. And when I went to see my doctor, he said the mass became like a ball. So it was organizing itself. So then after that experience, I felt so connected. Every time I would close my eyes, even like putting my daughter to sleep, like I would stay there and close my eyes. And I feel this energy entering. And I mean, I'm not guiding this energy. It was going there. And it was just moving around my uterus. Like somebody would put the hand here and just do like that, like reorganizing matter. And so I would feel grateful, you know, like really like feeling things are going right. And I told myself, you know, like I never trusted. I knew like it was theory, and I never trusted myself and divine to make this healing. You know, like you can use all material things to help your body to let go of that, but the energy heals us. So I had to surrender even more. And then intermission came. And the first meditation we like connect all the community people, like connect, I did it twice, like one after the other. And I woke up at night with bleeding. So I was like, oh my God, but I felt great. You know, like those things when you know it's going in the right direction. I felt like there was the blood, the clots of blood, and I was like, okay, it's right. You know, I didn't feel any pain, it was okay. So I kept going, you know, like I felt so connected every time I was meditating. And I didn't do that for 4 hours anymore. I would do like maybe 1 or 2. But the quality of meditation were completely different when you feel connected. So 1.5 months after, the bleeding kept going, you know, like today a lot, tomorrow no. And so when I went to the doctor again, and he said, you know, like if you don't have this like really red blood bleeding, it's okay. And I said, but what does it mean? He's like, yeah, it's like seems like the blood vessels are breaking, but the marker was the same. Like it kept on 200 points. So I think after week long, like the follow up, it was maybe 1.5 months. One day, I just sit at home and I start to have contractions, like literally contractions in my uterus. Like I have a baby, I know what does it mean. And I feel like, oh my God, it's like it's done, you know, like it's going out. And I felt like it was, you know, like when I saw this blood coming out, and then the blood vessels were like kind of like, I don't know, breaking. It was my old self not matching the new self, like the part of my old self not matching the new self in my body. And it had to go, you know, like it was like time to go. And so I stay in my room, you know, like I start to watch all the videos how to give birth, because I kind of forgot how to breathe in contractions. And I try to kind of feel this like pain. It's kind of painful because it's opening, the giving birth, and then it becomes like impossible to hold. And so we rush to the hospital, to the same hospital where oncologist was, and it's like Friday night, and everybody's like looking at me like, what's happening here? Like everybody's asking me, why didn't you do chemotherapy? I was like, I don't know, look at this, what's happening to me? So they made the visit, and they see that the cervix was open and the mass was just stuck there. So it was coming out. So they see that the lining is clean, there is no blood inside, and they do the blood test, and the marker is 9. So the power of the cell was lost, like the tumor cell lost the power, the marker went down, and the mass detached. Oh, yeah. And so I go there, and they say, we cannot do anything to this because it just stuck. And I said, can you give me some oxytocin, the people to give birth, to dilatate more? And they're like, no, you don't know. You're like playing with something. You don't know what's happening. I say, I know what's happening. Just give me this. So they stop it. So they stop the contractions. They give me like super, like, I don't know, horse dose of pain reliever. And I block everything here. So they say, okay, you stay here until Monday when oncologists will come and do something to you. I was like, I don't know. I don't want to, I don't want this lady. So what happens is that it was April, and in Italy the COVID was really serious, and the hospital was completely empty. And maybe 1 month before, I said, you know what, I really wish so much for my birthday to go somewhere without anybody, because being at home in lockdown with all your family, cooking day and night, I was so tired, and doing all this work and releasing, And so I manifest 3 days vacation in the hospital for free. And it was nobody was there, like nobody was bothering me. It was my birthday. It was my day of my birthday. So I was recovered on 17, and 18 was my birthday. And I stayed there, and the mass is just there, and everybody keep asking me, like every shift they come, and it's like, do you have any bleedings? No, I don't have anything. There's like a cork in there, like I have nothing. And like, okay, why didn't you do chemo? Yeah, I mean, it's my choice. So I stay there, and on Sunday, the last day, I wake up. I feel like the next day after Friday, I felt everything was so blocked. Like especially 3 lower centers, they were completely out of balance because the brain they stopped it. So I was doing all the meditation. I closed my eyes. I'm in space because there is the chemical, and. I did meditation all day, and the day after I felt like it was unlocked, And so I do the breathing, and dancing and exercising, like to make the sense of gravity to come, to make this thing come out. And so I do the blessing of the energy centers 8, and I connect, and I feel all this fear for doctors. Like really, like I was not aware of that fear, that this doctor has to come on Monday and do something to me. But, I was giving my power away in that moment and to this kind of thing, but the power was within me. So I just wake up after meditation and go to the bathroom, and this mass comes out. Like, and I hold it in my hand. It's like 5x5, piece of mass. And my mind goes like, call everybody, just have a party, take a selfie. And I was like, yes, happy birthday. It was the birth of my new self, And I'm there, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I will be here in this moment of gratitude. For, like I was crying and having all this sense of gratitude for this, for this disease, for this awakening, I took a picture of the mass, not the selfie, but anyway. And then I was like, okay, yes, I'm supernatural, and it took like maybe I think I'm still integrating the experience, but just after it took maybe 2 weeks. I couldn't even like say anything. I was just shocked what our body can do, because you just have to trust this force. You have to trust this power, and allow it. Be worthy to let it go through your body and help your body to heal, because there is nothing then outside we can use, because we can help our body to release something, but it's energy that heals us, because we are energy. Monday, doctor comes, and she was really mad that because she didn't want to know anything, and of course she didn't ask anything, and she said, yeah, we need to have this ultrasound to see if you have still some pieces left. But there were no pieces left because everything was gone. The divine organized everything. So like energy organized matter, and matter comes out. So I go to this ultrasound room, and the only guy who was not involved into medical things was the guy to make the ultrasound. He was just reading the screen, and he was just, oh, okay, you see, there's nothing. It's like the lining is perfect. It's like fantastic, like he was so excited. And there were 9 people in the room, 3 shifts, that saw me in 3 days, and they were there. And this doctor, really serious, and he's like, oh yeah, is that girl, like I saw her at Christmas time. She didn't want to take chemo. He was so excited. And I was like, yeah, but guys, you're missing this part, because in like 2 months before, I had this other scan from another doctor who saw that the mass was organized. It was like a ball. You can see it on the scan. He's like, no, we cannot trust other scan, like somebody else's scan. Who knows? I was like, okay, but so this doctor, he was like, okay, it seems interesting. And he turns to these 9 people. He's like, have you ever seen something like that? Have you ever seen? And he was asking everybody. He was like they were just like not open to it. And I was like, yeah, I was laughing. I mean, for me, I didn't want to prove anything to them. I wanted to prove this to myself. And I mean, I cannot change their consciousness because they're so into this box, it's impossible. So I have this bioresonance machine at home. It's like Russian invention. And it reads energy field. And it's like just 2 magnets that you put on your head, and it reads all viruses, all fungi, all this kind of stuff. And I had the scan before Munich, and it showed incoherence in my uterus. It was saying, there's something there. It was just like pictures, like triangles. It doesn't show the mass, the measurement, because it reads the field, it reads incoherence. And I come back after Munich, and I make the scan, because I have it at home. So it shows I have nothing. So the moment on the floor of the wholeness, that was the proper moment. This is what you described during your teaching. And even though matter took time to reorganize and make it out, I was healed. But I had to be consistent, not to lose the belief and recreate the field again,
So practical as a person. At no point did she say, this does not work. At no point did she get discouraged when her values plateaued or went up. She had to look deeper within herself. That, to me, is not a victim. She never was a victim to this experience at all. She was curious to see if she went all in. She went all in, did she not? Yes. She embodied it. She did it. She invested in it. It was her medicine. And she took it every day. She's not a victim to the process. She was in a never-ending process of looking deeper. And when the body fights back, and it usually does at some point in a disease, we see it all the time. And the hardest part of every war is the last battle. And the body is clinging to the known, and you got to go in deeper. And you got to drag it out a little further out of the past. And it takes awareness, and it takes practice, and there are tough moments. But the people who do it never see the tough moments as something like, what's wrong with me? How come this doesn't work? That would be going back to the old self. They would never do that. They would be in the never-ending process of self-discovery, What is it about me? Where is it that I'm not looking? I mean, she comes up against her fear. That could be an emotion that's causing the body to hold on. Because what are the doctors going to say to her, or embarrass her, or manipulate her, or outpower her with intelligence? And she sees that as the last bastion, the last crossing. And she lets go of the fear. I mean, you can't take away gratitude from a person like that. She's worthy. She's grateful. The moment is what's healing her. But she showed up every day for that. That, to me, she lays footprints in consciousness for you to step into, to believe in yourself a little bit more, to believe in possibility a little bit more. She could have talked herself out of that story 100 times, 100 different ways, for all kinds of reasons, and she didn't. And she is an example. She is an example of the 4-minute mile. She's an example of a new footprint in consciousness, breaking through a veneer, a level of unconsciousness. She became conscious of a possibility that existed in the field called I could be healed. And then she said, give me the knowledge and the understanding that I have to continuously think about and continuously understand and create a mind to do something with it. And then give me the practice, and let me practice every single day until I become that person. And I'll keep overcoming till I become that person. Are you with me? And every day she overcame until she became. And when the feelings of those emotions of her future started to become more common in her, she was never worried about what was going on with her body. She knew she was going to be okay. She was in the emotion of it already. Don't you approach her and ask her how she did it. Don't you do that to her. You understand what I mean? Don't diminish her experience by having her try to explain what she did. She gave you what she did. She showed up every day and asked what she did well and what she was going to do again. She kept it fresh. She kept learning. When it's no longer fresh, you forgot the what and the why. You forgot why you're doing it. You got to get back into it. You got to learn it again. You got to relearn it. It's so much easier to forget it than to remember it. So you got to keep skin in the game. You got to keep your mind in it all the time. What is it about me? What's my blind spot? What's that thought? What's that act? What's that emotion that I keep returning back to? That's where I want to change. That's what I want to look at. That's getting right up in there. And that's what she did so well, did she not? She just became somebody else. Just became somebody else over and over again. So isn't that cool? That is why I do this work. That is it right there. That's it.